Hello, everyone. Just joining. Welcome, welcome. Gerald, Galam again, Joan, Yoma, Jean, Shirley, Taryn. Lots of people joining today. Nice to see. We'll start in about 3 or 4 minutes. So make yourselves comfortable. Hi there, Will. And hello, Kitty.
Good morning.
Hi, Galam from Thailand. Welcome, welcome. And Shirley, Wayne. Shirley in Thailand, Wayne's in the Philippines. Marvin, hi Marvin, seeing you again. Diana. Nice to see lots of people here today. So we can learn all about what is so amazing about plants. Except where I'm sitting, we don't call them plants, we call them plants. I've switched countries, so I've switched phonics systems. It's confusing. Now people think I have a weird accent. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, Honey. Chitanan. Lenny. Which one, Marvin? Plant or plant?
Say it again, anyway.
Daughter or daughter? Lots of different, yeah, okay, both. More. Ah. Hi, honey. It's a bit of fun. Good, so we'll give it another minute or two, and then I'll go through the housekeeping quickly, and then we'll get into the session for today, yeah? But nice to see those joining. You can see Cherry, Kotran. Who else is here today? Christine,
Andrew,
hi Christine.
Andrew, how's the weather where you are today?
At the moment, the sun is streaming in the windows, although I've got the curtains closed so that I'm of a reasonable exposure on the Zoom camera here.
And what's the temperature like?
Oh, it's about 18 degrees or something. It's quite warm, actually.
Warm? Yeah, warm or chilly, depending.
Well, I'm in New Zealand, so that's warm. Yes. At this time of the year, the average temperature is about 12 degrees. So,
wow.
Yeah. So 18 is a nice day. Hi, Rahani. Very good. So yeah, for those, actually, all the attendees won't know, but Kitty and Will know. I just moved. I was sitting in Taiwan, and now I'm sitting in New Zealand. So yeah, Jacobus, yeah, 18 would be freezing. Yeah, 18 is a nice sunny day here, where people go around in shorts and t-shirts. Hi, Shindo. Welcome. Yeah, so I've moved to New Zealand, which is where I'm from originally, with my family, and settling into a new house and new routines and everything. So for me, it's actually 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but that's all good. Okay, let's go through the housekeeping real quick so we can get set up for today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew. I'm a teacher, trainer, and academic consultant for National Geographic Learning. I deal with a lot of different language programs as well as other subjects as well, but I'm kind of curious about you and who you teach. So I'm going to launch a poll. You can see it pop up on the screen now. Just choose the segments that you work in. You can choose more than one. So are you working with young learners or teens or adults? Just click the boxes and we'll go through this. Yeah, Kitty, I'll start that in a second. I usually start it on the next slide after the housekeeping. I'll get it set up though while we're doing that too. Yeah, so I'll give you a couple more seconds. Very good. So if we just look at the poll, share the results. So most of us are teaching young learners and teenagers, which is kind of good for today's topic. Today's topic is around a program called Reach Higher, which is more of, if I just go to the next slide, you will see, it's, oh, next one down here. It's more of a content, language, and literacy program. So it's more for developing language learners, very suitable for international students or aspiring international students, but it does take quite a bit of material time per week to go through, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I was just setting up Facebook Live. Just give me 1 second to click on the right pages here. And we'll go live. And we're off and running. So good morning to most people. There we go. Good morning to most people. And wherever you're joining us from, welcome to this webinar as we're going to go through and talk about some things about what is so amazing about plants. So I'm going to just quickly switch screens to our classroom presentation tool so that we can get going today. So here we are. This is the beginning of the unit. Now, if you look at the photo, what can you see in the photo here on the screen? What is happening in the photo here? Hi, Sammy and Mark. Nice to see you guys. Rice planting, yeah, rice farming. So the question is the lady here, is she planting or is she pulling up? What's she doing here, do you think? What's she doing? Working on the farm? Pulling up? Possibly collecting a crop. Well, usually if it's rice, right, you would see rice on the top of the plant, right? Yeah, so Galarm's got it. So if we zoom way in at the bottom here, we can see the woman is transplanting rice. What does transplanting mean? What is transplanting? That's an interesting word. Moving, yeah, so we're taking a plant and then we're transporting it to another place and then putting it back in the ground again. So she appears in this one, we can see some water coming off the plants. I think she's pulling these ones up and then tying them up, and then maybe she's going to move them somewhere else to another field, perhaps, right? For planting, right? Yeah, but obviously there's a lot of rice there. I think they'll be growing a lot of rice there. But what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what is so amazing about plants. And I thought I'd start with just a little video. We'll have a look at a little video, which is about something. So I want you to watch the video and I will turn the captions on. Let's just take a look. We're going to watch half of the video and we'll talk a little bit about it when we're done. So here we go.
Covered in clouds, the rainforest wakes up. Its green trees shine in the sun. The animals start to move around. The rainforest starts a new day. Rainforests are really old. Some rainforests formed 70 million years ago, when dinosaurs still walked on the earth. Dinosaurs disappeared many years ago, but rainforests are now a very important part of all continents except Antarctica. Heavy rain makes conditions in the rainforest perfect for a great diversity of plants to grow. Rainforests only cover 6% of the earth, but they are home to more than 50% of the world's plants and animals. There are so many beautiful flowers and trees in rainforests around the world.
Very good. We'll pause it there. So what did we see? What did it tell us in the video? What information did you get from the video? In the chat box, let me know what you saw or what you heard. Biodiversity, wow, that's a big word. The reason I say that is because this program is for like grade 3 students. So if they know the word biodiversity, they're doing pretty well, right? Rainforests, yeah, home to a lot of different plants and animals. Rainforests are very old. The UK does have a lot of rainforests. They're not tropical rainforests, right? They're more temperate rainforests, but they can still have rainforests, yeah. High biodiversity, yeah. There's lots of plants and animals. They support life. Yeah, actually the rest of this video talks about how rainforests influence the climate, which is really important. Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Maria got it there. So if I just zoom back a little bit here, we have this little graphic, right? So only 6% of the Earth's surface, but they contain 50% of the world's plants and animals, right? That is a lot, right? So if we lost our rainforests, we would lose half of the life on Earth. That's crazy, right? Especially when they cover, if we go back a little bit more, the yellow parts in this map are the rainforests, right? So yeah, there's a lot of pieces of Earth that don't have rainforest. Okay, now we're going to get rid of that one. Oh, why can't I close you? Close, there we go. So let's take a look at our big question that goes with this unit. What is so amazing about plants? Okay, now for this one, there is a concept map. Let's go to our concept map, which I've copied over here. So what sort of amazing things can you tell me about plants? Let's make some notes on here. Normally in a class, we could do this individually and we could group our answers at the end, right? But let's think, what things do we know that are amazing or special or incredible about plants, right? They elaborate their own food. You mean they create their own food, Maria? Yeah, they can make their own food. Yeah, so they can create their own food, right? Through photosynthesis. Yeah, so they get it from the sun and from water and from, we could just say the earth for now, but minerals and things, right? Great. They produce oxygen. That's true, they do. So they produce O2, oxygen, right? They give us food and oxygen for living. Yep, so we can use them to grow, to grow food. What else? They support other forms of life, right? Yes, so other life depends on plants. Okay, and I've written depends here. We're going to see that word again shortly. Depends on plants. We'll see what that word means soon. Okay. They are a producer. Oh, seeds have latent life. Nice, right? Okay, so the seeds are the source of plant life, right? Okay, and we'll see those words again later as well. Great. So again, we could go through and we can build this concept map. Now, just as for teachers at a moment, pretending you're not students for a second, why do we do concept maps? What's the purpose of doing a concept map with our students? Yeah, they do produce medicine, Marianne, that's right. Why do we do concept maps with our students? What's the purpose of a concept map like this? Yeah, to summarize and to organize things, that's true. It's a content check, Alexander, yeah. What else? Good job, Cherry. Capture the main concepts, Glam. Yep, it is a little bit of brainstorming, Yuri and Hadar, yeah, that's right. Yeah. To determine, yeah, Wayne, to determine what they already know about this topic, and then what does that do later then? Because what we can do later is we can come back to the same concept map and we can add to it based on what we've learned. So concept maps are actually really, really good for formative assessment of your students. You can see what do we know at the beginning, and then we do some activities, and then what can you do now? What do you know now, right? So they can provide a good form of formative assessment. It's not, doesn't look like an assessment, but it is, right? So concept maps are really good for that as well. Okay, let's jump back to our content here. Now, because this unit is so long, there are a lot of other activities. For example, there's an activity down the bottom here about drawing and guessing types of plants. We're going to skip over some of these things because there's just so much to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight over to here. And we're going to listen to a little song about Marco's plant. This is Marco down the bottom here, and this is his plant. Okay, so let's have a quick listen. Here we go.
A big strong plant lives in my yard. Its stem is thick and wide. Its leaves are nearly 2 feet long. I'm glad it lives outside. My big strong plant, it grows against my wall. It has flowers in the summer and seed pods in the fall.
Very good. Okay. Not me singing, but that's okay. So Marco is talking about his plant. Now, if you look at the picture of the plant here, what words are labeled on the plant? What words are labeled on the plant? So flower, great. Leaf, yep. And we've got down here stem, yep. And last one is seed pod, right? So what we can do is we can introduce these vocab words. So for example, a stem, what does the stem do for a plant? Why is it there? Why do we need a stem on a plant, right? We can ask our students to kind of figure out why these things are here, right? Yeah, it's to transport the water. That's right, Rolando, sorry. Yeah, and the nutrients from the ground to the leaves, right? And also, why else do plants have stems? Yeah, it holds everything together, right? If you don't have a stem, your plant goes, right? Okay, it's lying on the ground, right? And then what are the leaves for? And we can go through each of the parts of the plant and talk about them, right? As vocabulary items, okay? But then we've also got a little activity we can do with this as well. So I'm going to switch screens back to my kind of whiteboard here. And down here, we've got some language frames. Okay, we've got some language frames. So over here, we've got it's something is something, or it's something are something. What's the difference between these two here? What's different about these two sentences or language frames? What's different here? Yeah, good. So this is about one thing, and this is about plurals, right? Two or more things. And we can use those words to help our students because they need to know these academic words. So singular and plural. It's good to teach them these kind of words in this program as well, okay? And then finally, it has blah, 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 okay? Great. So if we were looking at Marco's plant, okay, we've got the words here about Marco's plant. I want to know some details about Marco's plant. Okay, so in the chat box, can you make a sentence that gives me some details? So I will write one in there so you can see. So I could say it has, let's see, it has a stem. Okay, that would be a detail, right? Kitty, good. Its stem is thick and wide. Good. So Kitty is just copying the sentence, but this sentence is a detail. That's true. Okay, it has leaves. Good. Yep. It has leaves, great. It has flowers, right, down the bottom here, yeah. It has flowers in the summer, right, but not at other times, right? Yeah, nice. It has seed pods, good. It has seed pods in the fall if we want to as well, nice. What else? We could say, yeah, we could say it's big, right? We could also say it's strong, right? Yeah, the leaves are nearly 2 feet long. Good, yeah. And so what we can do is we can get our students to practice making sentences, just simple sentences, but picking out the details from here. And maybe we can have a challenge to say, let's find out how many different details, right, we can get about this one. We could even say it grows in my yard, right? That's another detail, right? It grows against my wall. That's another one, right? So these are other details we can put in there about where it is and how it grows. Okay, great. So yeah, this is one way we can get our students to be producing a lot of language is by making these little sentences, sharing them with each other, and also sharing them with the class, and including a lot more oral practice in here of these just simple sentences to really support their language foundation, their language development. Okay, great. Will says its leaves are green. Now, is that actually a detail that's in here? It might not be. I mean, from the picture, if I go back to the picture, if we're using this picture, sure, right? We could infer, as Will said, that the flowers are green. Sorry, that the leaves are green and the flowers are red, right? But do you know some plants that don't have green leaves? I know of a couple have like red leaves, right? Yeah, or yellowy, kind of yellow leaves, right? So yeah, there's some different colors, and we could talk with our students about those things, right? And that leads us on to looking at some other vocab. Now, there are some key words in here, and again, I'm going to skip these ones. These ones are pretty straightforward, right? We've got seed and soil and so on, but we've got some other ones like sprout and root and blossom. I'm just going to skip over those, right? We're not going to worry about those words for now, but you can see there's some activities to do here. I want to focus on some other ones. I want to jump over here to the sequence words, okay? And you can see on the screen here, we're going to teach our students about sequence. And this is a great time to do it when we're talking about plants. Okay, so here we've got our time order words. So first, next, then, and finally. Now, students, do you know any other time order words like that? Do you know another time order word? Or maybe a short phrase that you can use for time order? Yeah, at last, or maybe lastly, right? Yeah, after that, good one. Yeah, before, Grace, good. Yep. Any other ones we know? Firstly, yeah, so we could say first, second, third, right? We could do it that way too. Nice. Then, good, yeah, we've got then. At the beginning, at the end, good, yeah. So these are all time order words, that's good. And then we can also do time in terms of time, like on a watch, or also we can do it as days or months or seasons or years or lots of different things, right? Yeah, and so we can get our students to practice using these. Now, just very, very quickly, if we said, okay, here are 4 pictures, you can see there's no caption here. I can use this as a quick activity to get my students to practice using sequence words, time sequence words or time order words. Okay, so who can give me a sentence using those pictures and maybe the vocab on the last page, which was like roots, stem, leaves, flowers and seeds and things like this? Can you make a sentence with just one short sentence with a time order word? Right, and you could also use before and after if you wish as well. Good, yeah. Kitty says first, plant the seeds in the soil. Nice, and Grace is very similar, right? Good. What else what's another one we could say? What's another one? Everybody's talking about seeds in the soil at the moment. Good, nice. So those are all correct. Well done, class. You're very smart. Okay, what's another one we could do? Okay, then, yeah, the seeds grow into seedlings. Nice. Okay, after that, the flowers start to grow. Great. Yeah. Okay, what about if we did, yeah, first plant the seeds. What about if another one we did before and after? What if we did those ones? So I could say before the plant has seed pods, comma, it has flowers. Okay, I could use a time order word like that, so it's more comparative, right? But yeah, at the end we have a full plant. Good. Nice. So there's lots of different things we can do with this. Again, lots of oral practice we can do, and we can turn it into writing practice as well. But again, there's lots of different things. Again, here it's got an example of a sequence chain for Marco's plant. Okay, great. Okay, now some other quick vocab here. We'll actually go through and look at some of these in a little more detail. So I'm going to open up this one to look at each word in turn very quickly. Okay, so again, lots of academic vocabulary, the types of words we want to use in an academic setting, right? We don't, for example, want to say the things about this plant are, we want to say the characteristic of this plant is, right? Or something like this. We want to use this kind of academic word. Okay, so here it says characteristic. It's got a definition, is how something looks or what something does. And then it has an example sentence. A characteristic of this plant on the picture is white flowers. Okay, great. So what else can we do with this one? What else can we do with characteristic? Can we give another sentence, maybe about this plant or something else? Can you say a characteristic of blah, blah, blah? You could use this as your language frame, right? A characteristic of what is what? Okay. So a characteristic of teacher Andrew is he has no hair, right? Just one example. Yep. What else could we do? A characteristic of, what can we do? You're my student, Stewie Farm, so you have to make sentences for me now. What could you say? A characteristic of this plant is long leaves. Nice one. Yeah, good. So Marianne, you've got the long leaves down the bottom. One characteristic of this plant is its white flowers. Nice job, Wayne. That's a good one too. Yeah. A characteristic of teacher Andrew is his accent. Nice. A characteristic of lavender is a nice smell, says Will. Nice one. I could also maybe say this one, a characteristic of this plant is it has lots of flowers, not just one or two, right? It has lots of flowers. That would be another one. Okay, so we can make some example sentences there, right? Let's look at one more. So here we've got conditions, right? Conditions. When conditions are right, good things happen. What about when conditions are not right? Then good things don't happen, right? So you can have good conditions and you can have bad conditions, okay? So the example sentences here, clear skies and wind are good conditions for sailing, okay? Can we make a sentence using conditions about a plant? Do you think we could do that? What's a sentence we could make with conditions? Yeah, there we go, Wayne. Seeds germinate, or maybe you might just say grow if you're only grade 3, when conditions are favorable or where conditions are good. Yeah, right? But you're using those extra academic words, so that's good if we can get our students to use them, but maybe they don't know them yet, that's fine, right? Great, yeah. We could also say the conditions for a plant to grow are like it has to be in soil, it needs water, and it needs sunlight, right? Yeah, watering plant is a condition for them to grow. Nice, Eleni, right? Good soil conditions. Good soil conditions the plant to grow healthy. Okay, clear. So maybe we need to adjust that one a little bit, but I get what you're saying, right? So then I would just rephrase or restate, right? So good soil is a condition for the plant to grow healthily, right? Yeah. Too rainy condition is not that good for plants. Okay, so then maybe I rephrase that one as well. If there is too much rain, it's not a good condition for plants to grow. Maybe I just rephrase the sentence, right? Nice, okay, good. So we can practice through. There are a few more words here. We won't do them in detail. We've got a few more things to do, but we've got depend. Remember I said we'd see that word again. So what depends on something else, right? Growth. And one more is produce, okay? So we will see those words again later as we go through, but we can see these are our main academic vocabulary words that we want to use when we're talking about plants today, okay? Great, so what I'm gonna do is, let's zoom out a little, we're gonna jump ahead. We're gonna skip over this piece about making inferences and things. We're moving through, because we can't cover everything, this takes way too long. And we're gonna skip over some phonics work here, and we're gonna go to this story. Okay, so we're going to read a story. The title of the story is Hua's Little Garden. Okay, and what is this genre of this story? So it says it is realistic fiction. So who can tell me, what does realistic fiction mean? So is this story real or not real? Is it authentic or not authentic? Right? It's not real. Thank you, Kitty. Okay, it's fiction. It means it's not real. Okay, it says it's realistic fiction. So what does that mean? So as Grace says, it's not real, but it could happen. Okay, it could be true. We can see here it says it could be true. Okay, so the people are like real people, but this is a made-up story. This is not true. Okay, okay, and the characters are the people in the story. Now, here, we only have 2 characters in the story. We have Hua and we have Hua's mom, and that's just 2 characters, okay? There are some other elements in the story, okay? We'll talk about what that means later, but there are only 2 characters. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the title. Now, from Hua's Little Garden, what do you think this story is about? And maybe if we look at the picture as well, what do you think the story is about? Gardening, says Grace. Okay. Yeah. Some sort of garden. Okay. What else? What else do you think the story might be about? If we look at the pictures and we think about it, we can infer something. So we didn't teach you about inference, but we can try anyway, right? Garden on the balcony, says Kitty. Yeah. Balcony gardening, planting. Her mom teaches a child how to do gardening. Okay, maybe something to do with the neighbors. Okay, planting. Yeah, she seems to have neighbors. She's in an apartment, right? She's going to plant a garden. Okay, urban gardening. Nice. Taking care of the plants. Yeah, could be, right? Okay, cool. So let's take a look. Now that we've talked about what we think this is about, let's look at the pictures, but not the text. Let's see if we can see what happens. as we go through here. So here's the first picture. Okay, and we can see what's going on. Now I could ask you questions about the picture, but if you just look for a moment, okay, and then we look at the second picture. Okay, so Hua and her mom are doing something here. Okay, and then if we look at the third picture, which is here. Now, again, if I was in class with my students, I might ask them to call out things about each picture as we go through, okay? And then if we look at the fourth picture, it's here. Okay. And then if we go to the next picture, it's here. Zoom out slightly. Here we go. Okay. And then if we look at the next picture, something's going on, right? We look at the next one. Okay, and then we look at the last, well, not quite the last one. We got this one. And then got one more here. And then one more here. And then the final picture is this one here. Okay, so there's a lot of pictures there. So I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, right? So if I jump back to the beginning real quick. Okay, to the first picture. So what do you think goes on in this story? If you could, in 1 or 2 sentences, tell me what you think happens in the story. What do you think is going on here? Okay, the girls, not just this picture, but the story as a whole, Rolando, right? What's the story as a whole, do you think? Now, in terms of my grade 3 students, I might do this one picture at a time and talk about each picture, sure. But I think because you're teachers, yeah. Okay, so Claire thinks the story is about how planting is important in our lives. Okay, cool, it could be, right? Yuri says, Hua wants to have plants at home like in the park, says Yuri. Okay, cool. Any other ideas about the story? So she saw a dead plant. Sorry, I lost the comment. She saw a dead plant. She thinks about having a place for her plants. Okay. Pa became fascinated with gardens. She tried to have a garden at home. Okay. Pa wants to have these plants in her place. Cool. Nice. So she's interested in plants. Good. Okay. So this is what the story is about, right? Okay. So let's see how well we did. And what we can do is now let's actually read the story. Okay. So let's look at the purpose of the story right at the top here. It says, a girl who loves flowers wants to grow her own garden. Okay, some people said that. Find out what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to read this really quickly to you. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but Hua loved to walk in the park with her family. She loved the chirping birds, the tall trees, and the bright green plants. Most of all, she loved the flowers and their sweet-smelling blossoms. I wish we could have a garden, Hua said to her mom. Hua's mom smiled. In our little apartment? Not very likely. Okay, so what do we learn from this paragraph? What do we learn here? How could we summarize this perhaps? How could we summarize this one? Yeah, so Hua and her family went to a park. She saw beautiful flowers. She was inspired to make her own little garden. Okay. I wish we could have a garden, Hua said to her mom. So Marianne, then what I could do is I could say, okay, that's what you think. How do you know that? Show me the words that tell you that. And you could focus perhaps on these words here, right? I wish we could have a little garden, have a garden. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the family are appreciating the environment. Yeah, I wish. Okay. So we've done that one. Okay. We've also got a focus word here. So we've got the chirping birds. What does chirping mean? And so we've got a language definition at the bottom. Chirping is singing for birds. Okay, so these little notes help our students understand key phrases as we go. Okay, yeah, onomatopoeia, exactly, Marie. Okay, at home, Hua drew pictures of flowers and plants. She hung them all around the apartment. She knew that colorful pictures made the apartment feel lighter and brighter. Hua's mum picked up one of her drawings. You're a very talented artist, Hua, she said. Hua replied, if we had real plants and flowers, I wouldn't have to draw them. Your name means flower, her mom told her. Maybe that's why you love flowers so much. Okay. Now, once again, we could say, okay, what are some details or some ideas we can pull out of this text on this page? right? And again, if we need it, we've also got the word, oops, excuse me, the phrases at the bottom here to help us understand, right, what some of these things mean. So what's a detail? Can someone give me a detail that we could pull out of this text? A detail about something. So maybe about Hua, maybe about Hua's mum, maybe something like that. What's a detail we could get? So I could say, for example, that Hua's pictures are of flowers and plants, for example. Yeah, Hua's name means flower, Grace. That's good. So that's an example of a detail. Cool. Hua is a good artist, says Wayne. Yeah, that's a detail too. Hua loves flowers. That's one. And then she can draw well. Cool. So Eleni, you've got two, right? Yeah, clear. She's artistic. Nice. Okay. So Tom, it is good to live with natural things. Is that something that's in this text? Maybe not, but I think we're going to see that later, right? Yeah, Hua likes drawing. Nice. Okay. The apartment feels brighter with the pictures, right? With the colorful pictures. Yeah, nice, Maria. Okay. So again, we can pull out some details on things here. Now, down the bottom, we've got a couple of questions, right? And it says here, setting, where does Hua live and how do you know? So where does Hua live? Where does Hua live? In a small apartment. Now, if we look at the text, if we zoom back out, how do we know she lives in a small apartment? How do we know that? How do we know that? What's the evidence that tells us that it's small? Yeah, her mom said in our little apartment over here, right? So it's not just an apartment, it's a little apartment. Yeah, exactly. So that's the evidence that supports what we think on that one. Okay, so we need to teach our students to look at the evidence, okay, from these questions too. Okay, second question was, what does Hua like about flowers? What does she like about them? So if we look up here, what does she like about them? Yeah, again, we're on this left-hand page and it says she loved the flowers and the sweet-smelling blossoms. Yeah, and she, who is she? Is she Hua or Hua's mom? How do we know? So to do she, what we need to do is we need to look backwards, backwards, backwards. Do we find a person? No, so we keep looking backwards. Do we find a person? Find a person, find a person, find a person. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We still haven't found a person. Ah, now we found a person. Okay, so because we go back and the first person we find, that's the one that it's talking about, right? So we can teach our students to do this as well, to look back through the text to find where the pronouns come from, okay? Or what they refer to. Nice. Okay, good. So let's go through. Let's look at the next page. Okay, now predict. Up here at the top. How will Hua get plants to grow in her apartment? What can we predict? What do you think might happen here so that Hua can grow plants? How will Hua get plants to grow in her apartment? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, so she could use a jar, okay. Put the plants in sunlight. Why do we need to do that, Claire? Because it's the right conditions for a plant, right? Keep using that academic vocabulary, right? Yeah. She can ask her parents for advice, Tom. Exactly. Yeah, because maybe her mom or her dad know about this as well. She needs seeds and good conditions. So what conditions? So we need sunlight. Okay. We need a pot and some soil and water, right? Yep. And we need maybe we need air flowing around as well. Yeah, okay, good. So this is how, if she does those things, she could get plants to grow. So maybe we could change the question a little and we could say, where do you think Hua will grow plants? Where do you think she will try to grow plants? And we've already seen the pictures. We kind of know what happens, right? Yeah, so outside on the veranda or the balcony, right? And so someone says climbing plants as well. Yeah, Rolando, right? Yeah, okay. So based on the pictures, we can predict what we think is going to happen, but let's see, let's find out, okay? So at school, Hua's class planted bean seeds. The plants grew well in the classroom, so Hua took her bean plant home and set it on a table. But in a few days, her little plant died. Oh no, there it is, right? Okay, it doesn't have the right conditions to grow, said her mom. It needs more light. And here I'm looking at this picture and saying, well, just move it over a bit. Then it'll be next to the window. It'll probably do a bit better, right? But anyway, it doesn't have the right conditions. So we can talk about conditions like we have already anyway. Okay. And again, we can pop over again. We can see we've got some words here that we need for the next section. Okay, now if I zoom out so we can see the whole thing here. Okay, Hua wanted a flower garden badly, but she knew there was no space for one in her family's apartment. One day when Hua was working on one of her drawings, she looked outside. She saw something she hadn't noticed before. The sun's rays were shining into a corner of the balcony. Ah, okay, so this is their balcony here. And we've got some sunlight coming down here. Yeah. So, okay. So what do you think happens next? What do you think might happen next? Can we predict what might happen next? Maybe she uses the balcony because the sun. Okay. And so we can keep discussing this. Yeah. Yeah, as Claire says, yeah. Some plants are indoor, some are outdoor. Yeah, we need to try different places for our plants, right? Okay, let's go to the next one real quick. We're zooming through this. Mom called Hua, come and look, the sun is shining on our balcony. I can have a garden. Her mom laughed. Well, maybe you can have a small garden. She said, a very small garden. You can grow one plant in a pot. But that's it. There is no space for more than one pot. Now, if we look at the picture, do you agree with Hua's mum? Is there space for one pot and that's it? What do you think? Is there space for one? Why? So no, why do you think so? Why do you think no? Why do you think there's space for more than one pot? Why do you think? There's plenty of space. Why? Oh, okay. So Elene's saying maybe her mom needs a lot of space on the balcony for drying clothes and other things. Maybe, right? True. Yeah. So the balcony is spacious, but maybe Hua's mom needs a lot of that space, right? Maybe they need to have a family barbecue on the balcony. I don't know, right? Yeah, we need to have good sunshine. Now, it seems like there's only one little bit of sunshine. So yeah, maybe that's why her mom says something small. Why else might mom say, you can only have a very small garden? Why is that? What are some other reasons why you think that might be true? Mom doesn't want plants? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, Hua is a first-time gardener. Maybe mom thinks Hua won't really look after her plants, maybe, right? Mom needs the space for other things. They require a lot of care, Lenny. Yeah, true, right? So there could be some reasons why her mom says just one pot, right? You can grow up one plant in one pot, okay? Interesting, okay? So then what does Hua do? So Hua thought about what she should plant. I love flowers, she told herself, but it would be nice to grow something to eat too. Hua thought about different types of plants she had learned about in school. I know a passion fruit plant will give us flowers to enjoy and fruit to eat, she said. Okay, so passion fruit, that's probably something you either need to show the students or to describe to them in their local language, perhaps, to know what the local word for passion fruit is, right? But yeah. So what is Hua doing here? She's thinking about what's the right kind of plant. Okay, so you can see she's thinking about all sorts of things. Okay, so down here, confirm our prediction. Now, what was our prediction? We predicted how will Hua grow plants, right? So did we predict correctly, right? Well, she tried to grow the bean plant, but it died, right? So then next, what's she doing? Now she's trying to grow another plant in better conditions, right? Yeah. So what else will she need to do? She will need to put them in the right place with some sunlight, right? Now, character question. Do Hua and her mom get along well? Are they friendly? Do they get on well, or are they fighting? What do you think? Hua and her mom, do they get along well, or are they fighting? They get along well, says Marianne. Yeah. They get now. So how do you know? What's the evidence that they get along well? What's the evidence that they get along well? Okay, so Galam says because Hua agrees with her mom. How does she agree with her mom? Where does she agree with her mom? Yeah. So maybe we can say she agrees with her mom because her mom says you can have one plant, but that's it. And so Hua doesn't argue. She then thinks about the plant that she would plant, right? Okay. That could be one reason. Yeah. They seem to respect each other's point of view. Nice. Mom gives advice. Yeah. Another one could be because Hua is calling mom and asking her something, and her mom is laughing. Her mom's not angry, right? Her mom is positive, right? And she's not saying you cannot do it, but she's giving her a limit, a boundary. She's saying you can do this much. You can't do that much. You can do this much, right? So she's letting her do it, but she's giving her a boundary. It's like managing students in your class, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, so we won't desperately go through the rest of this, but if we look at the pictures, I think we can figure out what happens next, right? So if we look here, so Hua and her mom get a pot and they get a passion fruit and they cut it open and they get some seeds and they plant them, okay? And then here it says Hua checked her plant every morning and every night. She's looking after her plant and then it starts to grow, right? And then a bit later, now the vine is now growing across the balcony and it's got some flowers. And then it keeps growing flowers and now it starts growing fruit. And then they end up with a bowl of passion fruit on the table, right? So I'm just really quickly summarizing the story for the benefit of getting through what's there. So what do you think happens after this point in the story? There's actually one more page left. So Hua has successfully grown her plant. It's produced flowers. It's produced fruit. What do you think happens next on the last page? Can you make one final prediction for me here? They share the fruit. Okay. They will sell the fruit. Okay. They eat the fruit. Yep. More plants on the balcony, says Maria. Okay. They'll give the fruit to neighbors. Okay. We've got some different predictions. We've got at least 4 so far, or 5. Other people saw the beautiful garden. Okay. They'll make some juice. She invites her friends to come and enjoy. Nice. Other people will start to plant too. So maybe the neighbors see and then they decide to plant things too. Yeah. Now maybe they can have more plants. Now they know how to do it. Yeah. So it's like now maybe Hua's mom sees Hua can look after plants. So maybe she lets her try more. And in fact, that's exactly what happens. Okay. She asked her mom for another pot. Another pot? What do you want to grow now? Chilies, says Hua. Her mom thought for a moment, maybe you should ask Mrs. Nguyen if there's enough room on her balcony to grow more plants, right? Must be their neighbor, right? But Hua's thinking, I can grow more. And Hua's mom is thinking, I need some balcony space, so maybe we can ask the neighbors. Okay. So you've got it right, really. You've kind of predicted what's going on here. Okay. Nice. A plantita. Someone who loves to grow plants. Yeah, nice. So there's lots of things in here that we can do with our students to focus on things like details and inference and predictions and all of these things as we're going through, right? And then to follow up on the story, we've got some response questions here. So we'll just go through 1 or 2 of these really quick. Okay, so we've got our keywords, so we could review those really quickly again because we can use these keywords when we're giving our answers, right? So if I said, okay, remember we said this is realistic fiction, realistic fiction. So what seems realistic about this story, and give 2 examples. So this story is realistic because what? This story is realistic because, so I could say, maybe as an example, this story is realistic because some children really like to grow plants. Okay, why as a child, right? So that could be why it's realistic. Okay, so Eleni, you've said it could actually happen. That's true, but why could it happen? Give an example of what seems realistic. Yeah, Sammy, good. People do grow plants on their balcony. So this story is realistic because people do grow plants on the balcony. Okay, cool. So this story is realistic because Marvin says people can really plant and start gardening. in a small space, in a pot. True. Okay, that's a couple of examples. Can we do one more? This story seems realistic. Well, it is realistic because, yeah, Sammy, plants easily die in bad conditions. Yeah. Okay. Marianne, because girls love colorful flowers. All girls, Marianne? Some girls? I know some girls that don't. Okay. This story is realistic because mom and her daughter can get along very well. Nice. Yeah. So now you're getting the idea. Right? We can grow plants even in a small space, right? The setting is real. Like there are many people live in apartments with balconies, true, right? Because a lot of people here in the Philippines do that, right? Especially during the pandemic, exactly. So now, excuse me, now you're coming up with examples and reasons of why this is a realistic story, okay? Even though it's fiction, it is realistic, okay? Okay, number 2, imagine your Hua's mom. Give information to Hua about the life cycle of a passion fruit plant. Okay, so first, it says here, first the plant has, but let's think about what, if you can think of that picture again, maybe I'll just go back to the picture to help you maybe. So if we go back to the passion fruit plant, so what could we say? First, the plant has this thing. What does it have first? The plant has a vine, right? It has vines that grow, okay? What's the second thing it has? So first, the passion fruit plant has vines, then it has flowers, right? And finally, it has passion fruit. Yeah, exactly. So Marianne's got it, vines, flowers, fruit, okay? And we could use those words to fill in to here, but we want to make complete sentences, right? So first, the plant has a vine that grows, maybe. Next, it produces, there's our academic word again, produces flowers. Then the flowers maybe turn into fruit, or the flowers produce fruit, okay? So we want to try and use our academic words if we can, okay? Great. Okay, now, of course, this topic about plants is a really, really good one for actually doing hands-on things in class, right? So I have some examples of what you could do with this, right? And some of our words up here, we've got these kinds of words. So I want to finish today with a quick little show and tell, right? And remember in Hua's class, what did they do? Where was it? Back here somewhere. They planted bean seeds in her class and they grew beans, okay? And she had a bean plant, but then it died in bad conditions, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. And I want to turn off my background so that I can show you some plants that I have. Welcome to my house. I'm going to show you some plants that I have, and I want you to tell me what are the characteristics of these plants. This is where we're going to do some language practice, right? So this is my first plant here. Okay, so if I bring it in close, here we go. So here is a plant. Okay, so what characteristics does this plant have? What could we say about this plant? How could we describe this plant? Right, what could you say? It's a green plant. It has green leaves, lots of small green leaves. It's leafy, good. Yeah, the leaves are short, maybe. The leaves are also wide. We could use those sorts of words as well. It's a healthy plant, good. Now, does anyone know what kind of plant this is? Does anyone know what plant this is? You look at the leaves closely, maybe you know this kind of plant. Mint? No, it's not mint. Good guess. It's not mint though. Strawberry? No, it's not strawberry. Strawberry has less leaves. Ah, someone got it. Very nice. Christine, this is oregano or oregano, depending on how you say it. That's the name of the plant. It says oreganum, right? But that's oregano, right? And if I rub the leaves and I smell it, yeah, it smells. It smells like oregano, okay? Or oregano, depends on how you say that word, okay? Right, I've got one more. Actually, I've got 3 more. But the next one, here's the next one. Oh, come here. There we go. What's this plant? Or what's the characteristics of this plant? What can you say about this plant? What could we say about this one? It's got thin leaves. Yeah, it's very thin leaves. They're kind of long. Yep. Elongated. Right, that's a nice word, Wayne. Long, thin leaves. Yep. It's got quite a lot. Someone thinks it's thyme. Okay. It's a herb. That's true. So oregano, and this one, they are both herbs. That's true. Pale green. Oh, someone's got it. It's rosemary. Very good. Well done. Rosemary. Now, these two are herbs. And actually, I've got this one as well. So this is rosemary for the kitchen. In fact, if I just open up the bottle here, oops, dropping the top. So you can see the rosemary leaves have been dried and cut up. So actually, what we're going to do, we needed this for the kitchen, but later we can take, when our plant grows, we can trim off some of the leaves, so we can cut them up and dry them, and then we can put them back in the bottle, use it for cooking. Right? We can grow our own herbs. Okay, now I've got two more. This one's a little interesting. So what about this plant? What do you think about this plant? Yeah, leafless. It's an onion, a spring onion. It's young. It's a sprout. Spring rolls. So like spring rolls. Just planted. Okay, so I have a question for you. This one is a new plant. It's planted. Okay, and it is a spring onion. How did we plant this? What do you think happened here? How did we plant this plant? How do you think we planted this one? Yeah, it's just a stem, right? It's just a stem. Is it a bulb? So a bulb is like a seed, but it's really big and fat, right? Yeah. Actually, no, what we did for this one is we bought some spring onions at the store and we cut the tops off to use in cooking. And then the piece at the bottom with the roots, we put in the soil to make it grow again. Okay. So this is a transplanted root that we used the plant bit that we wanted, and then we stuck it in the soil, and it's already grown this much in like about 5 days. That's only 5 days to grow that much, right? So at home, when you cut the bottoms off the plants, you don't have to throw them out. You can plant them and maybe they'll grow again. And this is a good, fun little thing for kids to do, right? Okay. Now I've got one more. Actually, this one is a plant and a seed. Now this one is strange, right? So don't worry about the seed. We'll do that later. What's this? What's this here? This green thing. Yeah, that one's celery. It's celery. So you might know celery. It has a long kind of thin stalk, and then it has leaves at the top, right? Yeah, it's celery. Now, we did the same thing with this. See, we cut off this much of the bottom, and then we've put it in water. And is it growing? Yeah, I think you can see here. If I turn it around a bit, there's a leaf growing here, right? There's a new leaf growing here. There's also a new leaf growing in the middle. So maybe if we're lucky, we can grow more celery, even from just this much of the plant, right? Even from just that much, we'll grow our celery again. And then we've got this one. What's that one from? Does anyone know this big seed? Yeah, it's an avocado seed. Good job, Kitty. So yeah, we're trying to see if this avocado seed will sprout, and then we'll try and grow that as well. So yeah, nice. So lots of different things you can do with seeds and with plants, even pieces of plant that you don't use in the kitchen. Maybe your mom can keep them. You can try and grow them. And this would be a great little project for the kids to try and do at school, right? Is not just grow from seeds, but try and grow from cuttings and roots as well. That could be a really fun sort of thing for kids to try, right? Yeah, so is that interesting? Useful? Something a little bit different, right? Yeah, nice little activities you can do with students to help them understand about this kind of topic, about life in the soil and how plants are so amazing. I mean, I can get a celery to grow from just that little piece at the bottom, and it will still grow celery again, apparently, right? So many great things we can do with plants. They're really, really amazing, right? Cool. Well, we picked up a nut from outside of our flat, which had fallen in from a tree, and planted it. We now have a small tree pond on our balcony. Nice. Cool. Ah, there we go. Nice one. Good job, Will. We're doing the same thing. When we have fruit, we try and take the seeds. Like my mother collects seeds from tomatoes, and she tries to regrow them from the seed as well, right? So yeah, it's not actually me, Wayne. It's actually my wife is doing a lot of those things. I'm too busy working. She's growing all the plants. Very nice. Okay, but yeah, just about this this content, you might have noticed from looking at this content, there is a lot of language in here, this literacy development, because we're using a lot of those academic words and we're getting our students to use those language frames to speak and probably write more as well. But this kind of material, it's not straightforward English foreign language material. It's a little bit more academic, right? For more those students who maybe are aspiring to go to international schools in the future, right? So interesting things to do, can take a bit of time per week. But yeah, we're now getting some stories in the chat box about people growing things. So maybe now I could ask you as my students or you as my teacher colleagues, what things are you growing at the moment? So Kitty's growing roses, cut some branches and planted them. Yep, you can grow roses from cuttings, that's true. Yeah. Who else is growing something? Eleni's growing strawberries. Grace is growing onions, avocados, nice. Lemons, cool. You're growing cacti. Are they edible cacti, Claire? That'll be interesting. Barrel cactus, yeah. Tomatoes, lilies, basil, yeah. Chilies. Trying to grow some bonsais, nice. Cool, yeah. So we got lots of people growing different things. That doesn't take much, right? You just need some soil. You need the right sort of conditions, right? And then even sometimes just a piece of a plant, right, is enough to grow another plant. Yeah, onions, carrots. Yeah, not lots of things we can do. Great. Anyway, so I hope you found that interesting. I think students would find that interesting too. Students about this kind of grade 3 level, they're interested in these things. They want to try these things, right? And they want to get in and see if they can do it by themselves as well. Yeah, the pandemic's turned us into little gardeners, very true. Actually, another thing, of course, now that the pandemic in some places is starting to go away a little bit, now we're starting to have, maybe in where you live, we're starting to have problems with inflation. Things are getting more expensive. So I know in those kind of times, people often go back to gardening as well as a way to maybe grow some of their own food or some extra things for their own kitchen, right? So yeah, interesting things we can do, right? Nice. Okay, so we'll wrap up for today. So just so you know, we will send you out the recording link from today's session, as well as the certificate that will come to your email tomorrow, okay? And we do have more webinars coming up. I didn't have the picture to stick in here now, but if you go to this website, which maybe Kitty will help me drop in the chat box, then this is one place you can go to find out all about our webinars and things that are going on. So ngl-asia.com/webinars. Okay, there it is. Kitty's just put it in the chat box for us. Okay, and if you want to find out more about this program, all you need to do is just give me an email. My email is here. You also have it on the invitations from the webinar, the email invitations. You can reply to the email invitation. It will come to me and we can tell you more about this program if you're interested in it. Or if you think this one's a bit too hard for your students, but you like the style, then we have similar programs that you could look at as well. Or if you just want advice about how do I do these kind of projects with my students, or these kinds of things, we can help you with some of those things as well. Okay, great. Now we do have a little bit of time for some Q&A. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to stay on for another 5 or 10 minutes and see what sort of questions people have. So if you have a question, where do you get the teaching materials? Asks Jasmine. So Jasmine, we could get you in touch with a local representative. Sometimes they come from us directly. Sometimes they're through a distributor, sometimes through a bookstore, okay? Lots of different ways to get them. Yeah, we can help. If you tell us where you are, we can help you get in touch with the right people about that. Okay, great. Okay, any other questions? Thank you to everyone who's saying thank you. It's nice to know. Hope you got a couple of ideas you can use with your own students, maybe about the language, the details, predicting, summarizing, things like this, right? As well as, some fun little projects or something you could try. Yeah. Very good. Any questions? I'm more than happy to have a question or two.
Andrew, there is one in Q&A.
Oh, yep, sure. Sorry, thank you, Kitty. I missed that one. Most young students find it difficult to read non-fiction content because they contain too much random information. How can we help them? So Grace, the biggest thing with that one is actually choosing content that is suitable for the students. You can get non-fiction from a lot of different places, but if you're getting non-fiction that is curated for different age groups and different language levels, then that's going to be digestible for your students, because too many times what we do, obviously, is our student, if I turn my tablet on again here, our student is at one level. So they're down here somewhere, but the content we're trying to teach them is up here, and the jump is too big, right? It's not very scaffolded for the students. So what you need is you need material that's at this kind of level so the students can reach that level. And this getting the right leveling is a big part of what a publisher does. That's where you should rely on a publisher who does all the research and figures out all the details to know. So if my student is here, then I can give them this material and they can deal with it. Okay, it's digestible, right? Because too many times we try to give them something that's too high and it doesn't work. Okay, so that's the benefit of talking to a publisher or someone who deals with books, because they will have a lot of advice to give you about that. So if you want advice from us, drop me an email. You and I can have a chat. We can talk about it a bit more. But yeah, in general, that's what you're trying to do, is get the scaffolding at the right level. Okay, so I hope that answers your question there, Grace. Okay. Eleni, we can use the story from today as a metaphor to grow our students, providing the right learning conditions. Very, very true, Eleni. There is a very, erasing all this stuff. There is a guy called Sir Ken Robinson. I'm actually going to find you the video. Give me 1 minute and I will dig up the video that you could see. Let's see, where is it? It was actually from a TED Talk. Let's see. Ken Robinson is he deals with a lot of education. He talks about, here it is, teachers are like gardeners. Now, I'm not going to play the video, but I want the link. So if you watch this little video, this one here, this is Sir Ken Robinson talking about, yes, how teachers are like gardeners and giving students the right conditions to learn, right? It's a nice short little video. It's only 2 or 3 minutes, but it gives you some nice little analogies to what we do as teachers, right? So yeah, definitely take a look at that and see what you think. Okay, nice one. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, someone shared that video with me recently. I quite like that one. Okay, good one. Okay, I don't think there's any other questions there. I think we're pretty happy for today. But if you do have questions later, just drop us an email, right? You've always got access to it by email. I'll just drop my email address in the chat box again, in case anyone missed it from before. It's just andrew.tiffany@cengage.com. And yeah, feel free to get in touch and we'll have a chat. Okay. But apart from that, enjoy the rest of your day. And Kitty or Will or myself will catch up with you very soon. We've got more webinars next week. I'm back in about 2 weeks, but next week we've got a webinar from an author called Rachel Gibbon, as well as our marketing director, who's called Ian Martin. And they're going to talk about how English education is shifting and what the needs of learners today for English education are. So definitely come and check that one out. It's happening on May 4th. Okay, so go look at our website and you'll be able to find those webinars there. Okay, great. So everyone have a good day and find a plant to grow, even if you're growing it from a cutting or something, and produce for the world. Well done. Thank you all. We'll see you again soon.